Hello and welcome to the November Emperor's Path update. For a slight change, I've decided to come up in the loft for the update so you can have a look around and see what's been going on. Biggest change, station work's underway, which is something that, as I've said in previous posts, Instagram voted and said that the station was the thing they wanted me to work on next. So let's have a look at the layout. We'll do the usual left side of the layout all the way round to the right, and then we'll just chat about little things that have been going on as well in the background. So I'll see you guys in a sec. Okay, so starting off over in this section, since the last update there's not really been anything done on this section bar the fact that I've painted the baseboards brown just to sort of help make it look a lot less like wood. Ironically painting it brown. And also my polystyrene cutter has turned up, so I have started cutting out the embankment sort of sections that will be adorning this part of the layout. With that, I've also been putting edging boards on to try and help me work out what sort of shapes I want, and I thought if I could get those all done at the same time, it would be really helpful. As you can see on this bit just at the bottom here, I need to use the polystyrene cutter to cut that to shape. But yeah, so I've got some offcuts over that side there. I'm going to use some polyfiller and Mod Podge, plaster rock and all that sort of stuff to try and cover it up, and then I'm going to paint that, and it's going to be all overgrown with weeds and stuff, which resembles the same sort of scene down in Portsmouth. Previously, as stated, this was meant to be a canal side that came up here, but it meant that I didn't get to look at the trains as much, and that made me sad. So I have cut away any form of the canal sides being along this particular section, and it's just going to be a very small hill sort of sections. This is going to be greenery. There's going to be a lot of rubbish and stuff like that there. I feel like this would be the perfect area for people to do some fly tipping. So yeah, so I've glued these sections down. I've got this bit over here. Now the reason this bit is quite raised up here is because I'm going to be putting a little line side substation in there. I got some kits from Bunter's Yard a while back that I needed to get on the layout because they're lovely kits that he's resin printed for me, so I can't wait to get those done. So that's taking a look over up to the end of the polystyrene. We're going to move up just a little bit, and I'm going to go over some new sections on the layout. Okay, so down here we had, last time you saw the layout, we had two running lines that ran all the way around here and up into the station area. Now something that I have changed, which you're going to see when we get into the station area, is I have put another line coming off here. Now this is something that I did previously have when I had the 4-track section that ran down here. The problem is because it basically had from all the way down here all the way up to this corner, I had to get some lines that ran across all 4 tracks, and what that meant was by the time it got up to this section it was all the way out here, and I didn't have a lot of space over here as you went into the station. So what I've done is, now that we've got the 2 tracks that run down here, that is much nicer, goes into the fiddle yard a lot nicer, and as previously said, we've got a little bit more space up here. This now allows us to come round so that we now have the platform that goes back into platform 3 that was previously there, but with a much nicer curve, and we've also got the lines that go round into the station area. Now what you will have seen as we go along this section is that I have continued doing the 3rd rail on here. It is a weirdly therapeutic part to do, as I've previously said. I'm using more of it than I thought I'd need to. That's simply because I've got this electrified line coming up here. So what I'm doing is I'm going around and trying to do the whole section of the layout that needs doing, rather than doing one whole line, then another whole line, and stuff like that. So, with that point done, let's swing you around into the station area. And as you can see, there's a lot more here than there was previously. So what happened? Why have we got this new station area? So I obviously had the yard in here, and when I designed the layout, I wanted to try and make it resemble Fratton. With that, I wanted to get in the oil yard section, where the refueling part for the very few diesels that came onto the island, as well as trying to incorporate some sidings so that we had the coach storage area from the maintenance depot at Fratton. And I realised that I barely used that yard section, and what I do really enjoy is seeing lots of passenger trains. Now, I have a lot of passenger trains, and I have EMUs, DMUs, and all this sort of thing, and they are perfect for coming in and out of platforms, whether it's going through or going to a terminating platform. So, originally on this particular section, let's swing around. Over here, where the new platform that you won't have seen before is, there was an additional line that ran in between there, that went between the two lines, where you can see the 4TC sitting there on one side of the platform, and then the 108 on this side. There was a line in between there, and it was a good sort of loco storage area, because it meant that they could all be sat there whilst other trains are going around the layout, but I didn't enjoy it. So what I've done, obviously we've added another run-through platform, which I'm really happy about, because it means that I can bring a train in on platform 3, that train can sit there, another train can come in past that train, then the other one can go. It allows a little bit of extra operation, where it's not just constantly trains going around and round and round, but there's potential for it. Plus, very similar to how the platforms are in Portsmouth. Now, what I've done by including this is I'm sort of incorporating aspects of all of the 3 main stations in Portsmouth, so Fratton, Portsmouth and Southsea, and Portsmouth Harbour. By having this extra platform in here, it resembles the one at Portsmouth and Southsea that's on, I'd say the Matalan side if you knew Portsmouth, but it's basically the side that's closest to the town centre, whereas the other lines go up a very steep gradient, go through the main station, and then go off towards Portsmouth Harbour. So I wanted to incorporate a little bit of go through, passing through stations, as well as having terminating platforms as well. It was something that I've quite enjoyed having, and with the additions of the EMUs, DMUs and stuff like that, it's something that I can really easily do without having to have like trains running around to the front of the train. So I am currently in the process of doing the platforms, and there's going to be a separate video on that because the process is a little bit complicated. The point you see this video at, I have basically got all of the platforms in, and they are, bar the Southsea East platform, which is here, which is staying there, which hasn't changed, they are all removable. Now, the reason I wanted to do that was because sometimes working up in the loft can be not fun, or can be a little bit awkward trying to reach over to certain areas. So, with that in mind, platform 1 right at the back, removable in 2 sections because it is a large platform. Platform 2 and 3, that can come out, and then platform 4 and 5 can also come out. This gives me the ability to work on those downstairs, bring them up here, make sure that they test fit, and then take them back downstairs as and when I need to. As I say, I'm doing a whole video on this, so I'm not going to cover it too much. With that in mind, this is a big undertaking which is going to take me a while, but once this is done, I'll start adding in footbridges, because I've got some footbridge kits that I want to use. Then I can start adding in canopies, station buildings, and then basically just adding lots of little details and having a section of the layout that hopefully looks extremely finished. One thing I do really want to do is I want to try and get scanned by Model U, so that I can have a model of me on the layout. So if anyone knows if they're coming anywhere close to Portsmouth in the near future, that would be great. Please let me know. So moving down to this section of the layout, you can see that the lid is off the shuttle station at the moment, and that's, there we go, it stopped for some reason. And that's something I need to do. There was a sheet of I think 3mm ply on there, which was a little bit too thick for what I needed. What I ideally need to do is sand these sections down and put just a lid on there so I can get that done. But what I wanted to do with this is I wanted to make it so it wasn't just sort of like a road to nowhere kind of thing where it just sort of stops. So what I have started doing is I've started constructing this area over here. So I have some Metcalf kits left over. I've sort of ripped them up, and I'm going to tidy all of this up, but I wanted to sort of get the basic structure in place. So what I'm going to have is, this is going to represent something that resembles St Mary's Bridge, which is a big bridge in the middle of Portsmouth that the train lines run underneath. So I'm going to have this as a road with a corner here, so that the cars come round and then they go over the bridge. So what I've done is I've taken off the, I don't know what you call them, but basically the sections that are like the wall level sections that would sit here. And that's where the bridge is going to sit. It's going to be a nice wide bridge. There's going to be some nice good footpaths on there. There's going to be areas for cars and maybe bicycles and stuff like that to be on there. So it'll be a nice scenic area of the bridge. And that will go over there, and it helps sort of try to hide where the back scene comes really close to the track for a short period of time and then goes back again. That's something that I need to work on, but I'm looking forward to doing that. I've got this in place, so now I can start working on that bridge, and I think I'm going to use some of the Pico girder kits, probably have to buy 2 or 3 packs so that it can span across there, and that's going to be a fun little project to do. I really enjoyed building the bridge that's over on the left hand side of the layout as the scenic break, so this will be a fun project to do. I enjoyed weathering the girder sections as well, so that's coming up next. I am going to have to buy another set of the Metcalf retaining walls to continue on down here, because I think that's the best way to handle that particular corner. And I really enjoy building Metcalf kits, so it's not a problem for me. It's just a case of I need a lot of Metcalf kits at the moment, so it's buying them as and when I can. So let's just turn you around and aim you towards the right hand side of the layout as we enter in that last section ready for the scenic break. So once again, you can see there's a mountain of absolute rubbish over here. I have a lot of polystyrene. We've just redecorated our front room, and we had flat pack furniture and lots of gumph and basically lots of polystyrene left over, which is great for me because I've been able to use it on all my platforms and things like that. So in this particular section, round about where that retaining wall ends, so up here, we're going to have it where that goes round, and there's going to be sort of like a hill side area, so we'll have a nice green section. This will probably be the most green section of the layout, and this will allow us to actually model some nice green areas, which is something I don't really have at the moment and hadn't planned on having, but having it over here is great. It's going to be a nice big hill. We're just going to build up the polystyrene, then use the traditional method of the paper mache and Mod Podge and plaster bandage and stuff like that. I can't remember for the life of me what the paper stuff's called, but I know what it is when I see it, kind of thing. So that is to resemble the Hillsy line section. So I uploaded on Instagram a little video of the Hillsy line section where you can see where the trains come onto the island and the remnants of the old fort that it goes through to get onto the island. And I think it's a great section, and it's one thing that I've always wanted to model. It is surrounded by trees, hills and bushes and shrubs and stuff like that. When I went and took the video, I had to basically go through lots of bushes to get as close as I did. I'll try and get some more videos of that when I start working on this particular section, for the majority of it, but I just wanted to have it there. I love that Metcalf kit, and I think it resembles it really well. So that's another thing where when I'm waiting for things to dry, like the platforms and stuff, I've just basically been cutting up platform sections, polystyrene sections, so that I can start building all of these up, ready to sort of turn them into scenery. Okay, so that's the main layout update. Let's have a little chat about things that we're going to be doing going ahead. So moving forward, what's happening with the layout? So station's my number one priority, with a little spattering of doing some scenic bits over here by the scenic break and doing the scenic section behind me. Now the reason I'm doing that is because sometimes if you work too much on a certain area, you can get burnt out, and I don't want to do that because I'm really enjoying hobbying at the moment. My main thing is going to be getting some sort of colours and base layers of scatter and stuff like that on those two particular areas, so that it gives them some colour, and then hopefully creates better areas for me to start filming, taking photos and things like that. The other thing is I have taken a lot of my rolling stock from the fiddle yard. The reason for that is because certain rolling stock is causing me a lot of problems or needs some work. The one thing I really want to do is upgrade a lot of the wheels on my rolling stock. Bizarrely, I got some Hornby Railroad Mark 1 coaches which are terrible. They come off the track all the time. They cause me no end of problems. Even after upgrading the wheels on them, they've still been a little bit of a problem, and it's mostly due to the couplings. So I'm going to upgrade those to Hunt couplings in hopes that they start performing better. They are currently in a BR Crimson, and there's one cream and chocolate coach in there as well. I want to get an extra one to make it a 5-coach rake, but I'm also really tempted to paint them up in BR blue and grey. So if anyone has any ideas, let me know. If you've used the Hornby Railroad Mark 1 coaches, the relatively new ones, where they've already got the NEM pockets and stuff built into them, let me know if you've had any problems and you have ways of fixing them. Secondly, I have a lot of Network Southeast coaches, which I painted myself. When I did them, I was newish to the hobby. Whilst I'm not going to sit and repaint all of them, because I think there's 15 or 20 coaches, I tend to run them in rakes of 5. I've added the additional, once again, a Hornby Railroad blue and grey brake coach. That also gave me loads of problems. However, it has recently started behaving a little bit more, so I'm hoping that that one will sort itself out. But the thing I want to do with them is I want to weather them properly. I did all the oil streaks and grime and stuff like that on them when I initially did them, but I didn't seem to touch the underframes, sort of like the bogies and the underframes and the wheels or anything like that. So I need to go back and do those. Once again, I'm going to have a look at upgrading the wheel sets on them just to make them run a little bit nicer. All of them already have Hunt couplings on them, so that makes it nice and easy. I said, all of the Lima coaches I've never had a problem with. They've always behaved so well. I have taken a few items of my diesels off the layout and put them into boxes. I simply don't have enough space to have all of them running at the moment. So I've looked at which ones are causing me the most problems, or ones that I just don't use, and I'm really analysing. So it's why the fiddle yard behind me looks really bare at the moment. One of those is my coal train. That one also needs wheels upgrading. So what I've done to try and get me to upgrade these pieces of kit as quickly as possible without breaking the bank, I've taken anything that's caused me a problem or needs upgrading off the layout. So that I go, right, to start using that, I'm going to have to go and address that situation, get it on the layout all fixed and properly. I'm saying that looking at, there's basically a big yellow shelf that I've got that's got all of my rolling stock in it. As it happens, the two trains that, bar my 411, that seem to be working perfectly and everything's pretty much done, is my Hornby Royal Mail one. Once again, old Hornby coaches, but they don't derail. They've got old wheels on them, and I've never had a problem with them. As soon as I upgraded the wheels, I had problems, so I've gone back to the old plastic wheels on them. The other train is my oil wagon train, which is my Class 31 and some custom painted Warhammer referencing wagons, which are with the Imperial Fist's Dawn logo on them. These haven't had any wheels upgraded to them, but they work perfectly. I've had no problems with them since they've been on the layout, and if I do, it's once in a million. So what I've done is I've moved the 31 over to the inbound line so that I can have two continuous trains running that actually have a full rake of wagons behind them. Admittedly, I'm still running my 411 because it is my favourite loco at the moment. It is the best running loco that I have, and I really enjoy putting my Network Southeast 4TC set on the front or back of it because it looks brilliant and it feels like that express train that I used to see when I was younger. So That's fun. And the fact that the 411's motor bogie can pull that kind of train is fantastic. It's a small little single powered bogie, so well done, Backman. It's a very good model. In the future, so the things that I need to do are couplings, wheels, and weathering coaches and wagons and stuff like that. I also need to weather my coal wagons as well. I did drop one of my Class 47s. I was having a look at it, not fell, but I tripped and dropped the rail freight Class 47 down the loft hatch, which bounced on the landing, then continued to go down the stairs, landing very nicely on our hardwood floors. Luckily, it still works, and bar losing a few detail pieces and a little scuff on the weathering that I'd done, it works. There's no major problems with it. I had to pop the windows and stuff back in it. So what I've actually done is I've taken all of the windows and detailing out, and I'm going to have a look at re-weathering that or repainting it. The reason for that is because I've always had my eye, there's another Class 47 that I want that I don't necessarily want to buy because I've already got enough Class 47s, and I'm very tempted to paint it in a large logo BR Blue 47, specifically the one that runs on the watercress line, my local heritage railway. So yeah, that's some of the things that we've got. So November update, you've seen all of the things around us. I've done a lot of tidying in the loft as well, and I can actually move around in here, which I haven't been able to do for a while, so I'm happy. My daughter has taken a great interest in coming up into the loft with me to watch trains running around, mainly the Hornby Henry from Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, but she does like watching the other trains as well, which fills me with absolute joy. Things that I should probably work on in the next month, as well as the other bits I've told you about. I've obviously taken points out, changed track around and stuff like that, but I never sorted out taking away all of the electrics from the old points in the layout. And during some of the renovation work, I did cut some of the cables accidentally. So the points that are right by the right-hand side inbound island line, or outbound, whichever way you want it, the bit by the Hillsy lines, the points don't work over there, which I want to sort, because running over to quickly change the points to do anything over there is a bit of it's a bit annoying. So I need to do that. With that in mind, all the points in the station area work, bar the brand new one that I've installed up in that corner. So that's another one that I need to do. The good news is I still have a lot of the wiring in the main section, so it's just a case of reconnecting them, coming up with a soldering iron and doing all of this using clips and bits like that. So that's something I can do in the future. I just need to sit down and actually sort it out. I also need to replace this light cable that goes through here, because if I bang my head on it, the lights go out. So it's an old cable, it's very, very rigid, so I'm going to get a slightly newer cable to run up to the lights. I do have an additional light that needs installing up here as well. I have a light here, which when I ordered the same as these two, and it's not the same light. It's good, but it's not the same light. These ones are cool to touch, whereas that one's quite warm, but they sent me two of those, so I'm going to be installing that. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the other one that I've got that's warmer over here behind me, and then I'm going to move that one up to above the station, so I have two lights above the station area. I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, otherwise haven't really had any problems with the fiddle yard thus far, which I'm really happy about. I do want to sort points out for that, but it's not essential at the moment. But yeah, I also want to work out a system of like a light system, so I can work out which points are in which direction, because that's something I'm really struggling with as well. So yeah, so that is this mammoth hobby update. There's been a lot going on. We've had trains running. I'm very, very happy. In the next time you see me, hopefully there'll be some further progress on the station area. But we'll keep you up to date. If you enjoy what I do, you can follow me on the Ko-fi supporter page or Ko-fi supporter page. There is a link down below where you can either support me by contributing every month to support me, or you can do it where you contribute as a one-off. You don't have to do it. All of my stuff will still be free, but if you want to help support me, that is a way to do it. I am not sponsored by, but I am extremely grateful for the model shop in Portsmouth. They help me a lot when it comes to building my layout and offering me advice and bits and bobs like that. So I just want to give a massive shout out to the model shop in Portsmouth, to which I will put a link in the description down below so that you can go on there. I'm biased. I like going into the shop because they have a fantastic bargain bin where a lot of my stock has come from, but you can also purchase stuff from on their website as well. The staff are extremely friendly, and I'd recommend anyone going on there as well. Final thing, I do now have Emperor's Path merch on Redbubble. So once again, I will put a link in the description below where you can see that. And hopefully, if I've done this in time, you'll be able to see a picture of me in my brand new Emperor's Path t-shirt with the new emblem for the train era of Emperor's Path. With that, if you haven't watched my videos before and this is the first video you watch, one thing that I do enjoy doing is weathering videos, and you can watch one of those up here. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching this, and I'll see you guys again soon. I've been Sam from Emperor's Path.